What's up, nerds? This is Other Side Arts, formerly Jump and Shoot, but still Spade Heart. This is the me. I am Spade Heart. I go by Spade Heart. The channel name is Other Side Arts, and today I'm talking about this Kingdom Hearts Shadowbox. This is a new hobby for me. I have three. Oh no, sorry. I have two done so far, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the first one I made, which is basically practice. So I have this Photoshop file open here. This is what I use to kind of map out all the cutouts and assets I'm going to use that go into a shadow box and how the format is going to look. This is a 4x6. This was for a 5x7 shadow box. So I really wanted to just make a Kingdom Hearts one. And the theme I went for is the Tron theme, because Sora goes to Tron in the Tron movie in certain games. So I was like, okay, I can go off of this and gather some images from the internet and cut them out, and put some borders around it, whatever I need to do, and to make it look nice. So this is the Photoshop file that I use. I use two. This is the main box Photoshop file, and then in another one I have the assets page where I have 8.5 by 11 photo paper that I print on with my normal printer, and I make a separate file and I place those assets on there. That's what I use to cut it out. That way I can be a little bit more conservative with the space on the actual page, instead of print out use a piece of paper for each little asset. Turns out photo paper is kind of expensive. It's for what you get. It was, I think, $25 for a set of 20. So just 20 sheets. Come on. Anyway, so for this one, this is what the shadow box assets look like. So I have the little cutouts here. These are from key art from the game. This is Korra here. I have Rinsler. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I have Riku here. I have Rinsler there, and the Sora. This is the position Sora was in, and then I have the background. I had to find a decent image of the grid. I think this is also from the game, and some at least Dream Drop Distance. This is also from Dream Drop Distance. So I cut out the heads, or I cropped out the heads from each image from the internet, and I put this little border on each square, just to get them to stand out. And then I put Sora here. I had to cut it out, or I had to lasso everything out and unselect everything and cut it out that way in the Photoshop file. And then when it came out, I could cut around this part, and I could place it in. This is what the shadow box looks like. I'm gonna do a separate video where I add that in. This was a interesting experience for me. I knew that this part was gonna be easy for me, since I already know my way around highlighting things or isolating objects in an image and then cutting that out, separating it onto different layers, stuff like that. I already know how to do all that shit. So when it came down to cutting everything out, that was an experience. I have my cutting board. I had to get an X-Acto knife. I already have a big ruler from when I was in art, when I took art classes in college. I'll get to the actual shadow box in a minute, but just this part was not that bad. This part is easy. All right, so this is what the physical box looks like. Again, like I said, this is practice. These didn't used to be here. I was testing out some paint pens that I just bought, and I wanted to see if I could draw on them and have it see if they showed up well on the box. I'm fine with this whole thing being messy or whatever, but what I really wanted to do was have lights incorporated into it. So you see this little fucking wire light right here. This is a little miniatures light that you can get at Michael's. I really hunted hard for them online, but I also didn't want to wait for them in the mail. And then I didn't trust a lot of listings on Amazon That's probably what I would have ordered it from. They all look like Timo products, like stuff that wouldn't work right as soon as you open it up. So I didn't trust that. I would much rather just physically go to a store and just buy it, bring it home, be done with it. If it doesn't work, I can bring it back to the store and not have to like send it back in the mail or whatever else you do with returned objects from the mail. So what I did to elevate the objects in here is I got these wooden pieces also from Michael's. There's like squares here, and then there's these discs here. I just got something that like represented different elevations. I use a square for when I want something like the closest to the box window, and then this is like the second level height that I use. And then what I do is I super glue the little cutouts onto the thing. Like for example, this Sora I think needed like I only used one square. Huh, okay. Well, it stands out on its own. I was worried that it would be too flimsy once I put it inside the box, but it seems like it's holding up pretty well. And then for each of those, I just also use a square for each of those little portrait things. But what I this is an experiment because I wasn't sure if the light would show up well or reach the corners of the box, and it doesn't. I tried to like prop it underneath this black tape, electrical tape right here, to like conceal it more, and I don't know, just I was hoping it would illuminate the whole box. I got this ribbon. It's reflective ribbon that I cut open, and I wanted to put them along the sides of the box to hopefully have the light like bounce around it more, because this is a small light, so it's not gonna reach the whole thing. I really wanted it to be something I could like turn on in the dark, and it would be really cool to like look at it in the dark, but I couldn't find like good enough lights for it. It turns out you have very slim options for that. And this is what it looks like outside the box. This is the background that I had to print first and get it onto the backboard of this Shadowbox. I didn't know that at the time that the inside of it would be fabric, and I was worried. I don't know how the glue is gonna grip the photo very well, but it seems to be doing okay. Oh shit. Just barely. I had it in place with like push pins. That's where these little holes are in the corner, just to keep it in place while it dries, but it seems to be doing okay now. Yeah. And the light is barely hanging on there. It turns out the electrical tape that I use is like not very strong at all. And this light has 3 settings on. Like you can. I think the main one is like the timer. The second one is just on, and then third one is off for each press. But yeah, it just kind of like hangs out in this like ugly way. What I also didn't know is that the super glue that I use, when it starts drying, it leaves this vapor residue all around like the space that it's in. And since it's like this thing has like no air going through it, it just kind of like pools in the corner like this little white little smoke, or not, these little white marks. This is the vapor from the glue. It's just kind of solidified on parts of the box, and I was like, oh shit, okay. I think my problem was I didn't let this dry enough outside of the box before I put it in, and it fits in easily. You just like unhook the corners and then you just drop it in. Nothing too complicated. I dig it. I have plans for others. I really want to make eventually at some point a Cuphead one. probably big like this 8x11 one that I have. That one is for another video that I'm currently in the process of making right now. Not much else to say here. This is practice. This was my first one. This is cool to me. I like having physical objects that represent something I like, that I made. And I can kind of just... I was thinking of hanging this on the wall, but it might be too heavy. So, and I like these shadow boxes because they're wide enough that you can just like put it flat on something. There's other shadow boxes, which are fucking expensive, by the way. This one, this 5x7 one was probably like 20 bucks. And then the 8x10 one there is, gosh, that was like 45? Or around like the 40s range. I was like, Jesus, I can't really afford to just buy one of these all the time. Also, I don't have enough space in my little apartment to have a bunch of these, but if I could get out a few, I'll feel good about myself. It's just as like doing this as a hobby, you know? But that is it for this one. This is the Kingdom Hearts box.